that's how much they delay and didn't to
Good morning, everyone. Just want to say how pleased I am to have this opportunity to meet you all and have a brief conversation with you on this Saturday morning.
Mikjen, Amchoje, Noguja, Kaji, Luji, Ruade, Anzu Yedikin, Anzu Yedikin, Wongbonga, setting Azudi, on Digor, the Anzugi, and Digor, Dusty Geshe, Anzu Chasa, Anzu Yobang, Anzu Tonti, Anzu Nyamyon Yede, Anzu Lol Chaya, the Dumtura Chirwa.
So, what are we going to talk about this morning? Well, actually, I'm going to talk about what in Buddhism we call our sense powers. So I talk about something that we all have and all experience of, namely our sight, our sense of taste and touch and hearing and smell. So these 5. So this is what I'm going to talk about this morning, because this is something we all have recognition of and experience of. What I'm not going to be talking about is the objects that we experience, but rather with what we experience. So our body, our eyes, our hearing, our taste, and our smell.
Anzulia, Bichishore, Karadu said in Anzugida, Mikta, Amtoda, Noguda, Anzuluki, Ludikelia, Anchi Carrera, Bichiche, Rotus, and then I'll do in the summer stamina. Anzuli Bichishore, Jida, Amjoda, Nogunidi, Sosorala Peggy, Bichimato, Shanley, Bichishara, meeting of Shita. Then the Mikta. Kadang to Ludi and Ransigalia, Bichimota, you together with it. Need some to remain around your tonsil in this Tongores.
If you ask ourselves, how do we make use of these 5? Well, from what I've observed, so my opinion, is that our ears and our nose, this we use just for our own purpose. Whereas our sight, our taste, and our body, this we use for our own purpose, as well as for the benefit or the purpose of others.
That is the Sosugi Pishtan, Amchonia, the Tanya, Kishinia, so Amcho Pishtangur, Tida didn't tolerate no good Pishtangorova. That Sosugi, Mikdang, Kishish Katang, and Ludi, Ranglegoya Pishtan, Milia, Javachelea, and also Capisheta, Kishiatang, and Jigel Lapu Pisheta, and Jimmy Pishtan Idi, that now the Mida me, Pension, Javosia, and Chasan Tushan Jalea, Mansuka Katang. Mikdang, and then to Luki, and the Ludi Tango to us. That you also Tonsho Sukuba, Chagurua, and Hagura.
These 5 senses we utilize throughout the day, from when you wake up and throughout the whole day. And some we utilize when we're on our own, and some we utilize specifically, or we utilize when engaging with others. So when we engage with others, we use our body, we use our sight and sound, hearing. So these we then utilize, these senses, when engaging with others. And other of these senses we use much more when we are on our own.
기시네 가게 나게 되네 가게 되네 배시다 기시네 제와체다 안지 류기 되네 안지 라바다 되게 배시다래 제산다 나로 주기 누가세 지나라 되기 주에 지나라 디가랑도 니리니를 레갈해야 돼 레갈리도 갑라 가르 배시던 거라서네 맞아 미다 가당 안티코도 기시 딩하다 안디 가소리 류디 배시던 거로 와다 딩하는 주게 자산 냠녀요 봐 차도로 와다.
And of this, I'm sure you all have experience that when we engage with others, we utilize our body. For example, we may shake someone's hand, we certainly will be looking at them, and we'll be speaking with them. So we make use of our senses when engaging with others. And another way to express this is the activities that we engage in so as to experience happiness and to overcome problems will include these senses. We'll use our body, we'll use our speech, and we'll use our sight. So what I'm coming to is that when we utilize some of these powers or these senses, such as our body and our speech, through this we can bring benefit to others as well as benefit to ourselves. But similarly, when we harm others, we can do so through our body and through our speech as well.
저기 Geshe Thubten 지기 유토네 지산례 녀바시우게당 산례 펜바시우주되야되죠. 베네 저기 산례 펜비게 삼 펜크스 산례 펜도 요야기 기시 야구시에바나 안지게 산례 롭베네 롭종로시다 롭된제야당 나즈세레 men주제당 고해 롭종 파카니 시니 롭종제여도 산례 펜바주되야죠. 다 Geshe Thubten 토네 산례 직sup시에당 산례 안에 뇌비게 배셔다에게 되는 산례 되는 직직 마자고 소고래 지지제고래서 도시도 가서 나게 되는 배셔다에도 안내 섭시부 용하다. 안내 지 류유고네 가령으로서네 내가 류유고네 산례 로체야당 안내 강아세 지시도 류유고네 산례 펜바주 투야다 라일라 펜바. 다 류유고네 산 유구모고야 산례 예동 땅야 안에 지게 저기 다지 제 지게 거소리 자마라 쇠시네 안에 지게 직제요도 갑라 셴레 녀바슈야 빼는가 저기 천차라서 천샤지 자마라 쇠시 된 락베 수고로와 되네 쇠네 디베지 땅이도 다 라신이가 강아 시우준아지 쇠야지 디로와 제산디 나 저기 나당 류기 니디 베지 땅 와라 되네 라신이가 야 강아세 강아 용하다 동아 야디 디투고 지고래 안에 라신이가래 펜버여바데 딩이 베시당 발레는 죽투고 거래 지상한 쪽에 모수 베시당 니디 딩이들이 차도로 와당한 줄래.
In the context of either bringing benefit or harm to others and ourselves, here we can really look at the role that our body plays as well as our speech. For example, through our speech, we can bring benefit or harm to others. So through the particular words one chooses, the tone that one chooses, the pace with which one engages, in other words, one's way of speaking, as well as what one is speaking about, one can bring benefit to others or harm others. For example, if one is giving sound advice, guidance to others, this is done through our speech, and this advice can be amplified also through how we speak. Moreover, when we're engaging in conflict with others, our speech also often plays a role, whether it's calling soldiers to war, whether it's having an argument, whether it's conflict in a home or between communities or nations, speech also plays a role. So therefore, we can use our speech to bring benefit or to bring harm to others. And so too with our body. We can use our body to help others, to help them overcome problems and difficulties in their lives. But we can also use our body to create instruments of warfare, to create instruments that bring harm. So in this way, we can readily recognize how our body and our speech can be utilized to benefit as well as to harm ourselves as well as others.
지게 전부다 미셔선 tum부다 전부 중요하래 아주 가르 베지당 거라서네 아주 계시시에 계시의 약보지당 류기 죄바디야 약보지 베지당 바에는 김사나래 tum부용하다 안에 지금 아주 계시에 칸에 마 정보시야 당 안지게 류기고네 자와 약보지야 단 넘기 약보지에면은 지소나래 tum부용야 점류 시대야 돼야 아주 류하게 통해 주보고래 당 아주기 다 디네 자다 김자 나라 지글이 미팅바야데 칸에바 안직 직주불라데 미규 혼에 따다타네 두자 따야다 아니 류유 제베 통에 아니 지게 주부 제바 있나 아니 김자 나라 미팅바 차야딩 아주 세우하고 그러봐 데 지소 나라다가 계시에디에 안 정보 마시아바 안직 직수시야 나게 거네 안 류유 거네 넘규 두자데 셴리아 안 채와 제바다 된 제베는 지소 나라 미팅바 차고 그러봐 안 점리 나라다가 점리네 본부 와치 신부디기게 직토네 안지게 다마라 셰야당 안지게 류유고네 안지 배셔다진 취셔라서 다마라 쇠된 마게라서 마자고를 지지제고를 파 기셰되는 추버 추전에 근데 지소나래야 점리나래야 당아시고 용하디 디에 차고로 집에는 아주 코리오들이 잘라로 신의 코리오도 바직 추조보서야 당당 bên 지게 제 담으라 루야 라소바다 되니기 코리오 장만 맞제베나 아니 코리오 조버스지 디기 가줄래 느껴야디 아주 융하게 되는 수고로 와지래 제가 디네자다 아주 융하디 야고지 베지 땅투베나 아나랑 김자나래 기부지 야고요야지 다 지소나래 안 야고요야 돼 난도시네 점리 시도야 돼 융하게 되는 베지 땅발래 되네 용고고래 해지래
If you think of your interactions with those that you are close to, those that are close to your heart, here, in general, because you care for them and you have a harmonious relationship with them, you'll speak to them and act towards them with kindness. And your general expression will be one of pleasure at seeing them, pleasure at hearing from them. And likewise, if one engages in society in such a way, with a pleasant expression, showing joy at meeting someone, one will bring about a positive influence in society, adding to the peaceful and harmonious relationships between individuals and between groups. But we also have experience that even with our loved ones, that our way of speaking sometimes is not like that. Our way of speaking can be harsh, can be divisive. Our tone can be angry or aggressive. And so too can our behavior. So in this way, we know through our speech and our physical behavior, we can bring disharmony into our home. We can bring disharmony and aggression in relationships with people outside of our home, or even disturb the peace, disturb harmony within society. And then from a different approach, in terms of how we relate to our environment, here harm is brought through people's behavior, through either encouraging environmentally unsound practices, environmentally harmful practices, as well as engaging in these. One pollutes our soil, our water, our air, harming our environment. So in brief, through our speech, as well as through our physical behavior, we can bring benefit to others and harm to others, as well as to ourselves.
디네자 당아주 류하게 죄바디 지게 야호시 베지 땅다 마다세디 당아주 베지 땅 잘라를 마선다 당아주 류하 죄바디 잘라로 지레 당아주 베지 수 땅거선 잘라 비는 아주 지게 취시 잘라셔베네 공아주 미기 베지 마잖아 고국이 땅스가요 말 호롱호롱 레갈레스가요 말와 미지기 베지 땅은 고레갈리기로와 지금 비슷하게 잘라르마도 그런 길라 레갈레스메로 제사다 아주 융하기 약보 용다 마용서 아주 융하디 야가 아직 자기를 촐 비슷하야다 누가 촐 비슷하 셸에 팬비기 리글 비슷하야래 아니 셸에 네비기 리글 비슷하디 융하 쮸바디 그런 게 차이매래 다 가르쳐 비슷 수 있다는 거라서네 디 비슷한 게 아주 셈기 비슷한 거다 군노 셈디 비슷한 거라 제사다 융하 쮸바 아주 지소래 팬바 랑기 김장라 팬바 셸에 팬비기 비슷하디 당부 군노데 군노라래 거래 옌리아 뉴비 자와치다 옌리아 안체비게 자와치 라션레 뉴비 자와치 비지타디 군노라리 마 융아 쮸바 코로나 구유다 메르와 데도 코 셈기 군농게 비지 마다베노 코 다라 나지 삼나 기시에 군노메나 가좀데 nga thung mare nga zo do san bi ge do mena kang bu ge ta ya marwa chisa dini ya ta nga zo lyunga ge chebe di ya do ganisil bi je ta na ma da se di nga zo kunwa sem na ra le go re chisa nga zo lyunga chebe de mo ta na shin chi re ta nga zo sem di nang lo mo ta dang han ro chi re chisa mo ta di garsi ya ga chi le dang go de du ga chi le dang go se de nang lo ge mo ta dang han de la ra le go o di na shi 다 돈달라 아주 융하게 쮸비게 야하치레 비슷한 두하치레 비슷한 거를 해야지 당연히 수리에서 나온 거 꿀노 삼모들라라고 그래제
Seeing the role then of our physical behavior and our verbal communication, we can liken these two to being as if they were material, something created, like something in our material world that has been created. In that what our physical behavior and our speech have in common with something created in our material world is that without a user, they cannot bring any benefit or harm. For example, if anything in our world, any material object, has no power on its own, no ability on its own to bring benefit or harm. It depends on the user. So too, with speech and physical behavior, these need to be motivated to express themselves and to be expressed in a particular way. If one has no motivation to engage in a physical act, one will sit still. If one has no motivation to say anything, one will remain quiet. Moreover, depending on the motivation, one will act in a particular way, and depending on the motivation, one will speak in a particular way. So the motivation then leads to there being physical action or verbal communication in the first place. Without the motivation, there will be no interaction from one side. So then motivation is a mental expression. It's a consciousness, a mind. The mind motivates physical behavior, verbal communication. We can liken it to go back to the material world. One has a car. That car can do nothing without a driver. It will just sit in one's driveway. It cannot go anywhere. It can bring no harm. It can be of no benefit without a driver. Moreover, how that car is driven depends on the mind of the driver. If the mind of the driver is distracted or they're in a rush, that will have an impact on how the vehicle is driven, and whether the journey is one of benefit or one of harm. So taking that, we also understand then our physical behavior and our verbal communication only comes about in dependence on the mind, motivating one to talk or to act. Similarly, whether one's communication or physical behavior is beneficial or harmful depends on the motivating mind. Therefore, the motivation or the mind is crucial.
다 되네 nga 주게 군노라 잘해 비임바데 nga 소소 삼다는 nga 세바하고 돼야래 배나 주게 삼나랴 파쇼들라 가위에 삼바다 제외 삼바 지여바나 삼노나로 군노 딘딜려도 아주 미대야 되스 캔자르시 미 통에 가랑랑 개와 미들리기도아 아니 기시베네 기시네 저기 약보라 셔야다 아니 류기 넘규 토네네 약보야 아니 고 로치 로고 강아를 진 로고지야지 류기 넘규 통요 바딩아서 세부르와 이제 소소 그 군론이야 파쇼들 마가베 삼바다 안지야 체베 삼바 쳬바네 디 미코론 따야도니 미코론 안지 캔사로 통야로 시자 미디게 따당데 가지 디는 기시다데 파 지시의 주부를 파셔 뇌야로 진 디는 류기 자와데 파기 뇌야다데 내용도와 디는 연자 다 디소용 두 삼다네 나 주게 세부하고 뒤야데 소수기 현지라 가외 삼바다 제외 삼바주나 나 주게 나 이거네 기시다데 야고시야 류기 직 자와지나 야고치야 미기 따다나 야고용하지 잘 파셔들라 가랑라 계획의 수도구도와 다 군론들 파셔들야 마카와사다 세외 삼바 취반에 삼로 딘실이도 아주 믹다다디야 캔사라 제제 아니 류기 넘기다 누자 나가 대한 즉시도 류나가 넘기도 판이 통화도 파고지 미딜이야 세마 마키 버셔야 돼 지산디 용하게 아주 군론들 용구요바디 군론들 되니기 용구요바디 내가 아주 자산계 냠뇨요 바지 세부로 차고로 받아
To make this very clear, recall situations where you yourselves have met someone perhaps unexpectedly that you are close to, as well as times when you've met someone perhaps unexpectedly whom you dislike. So what happens? The first point is the same. We see them. So through our eyes, we see a person whom we happen to either be close to, emotionally close to, or someone that we dislike. Then, what happens beyond or following merely seeing them is we will have a physical reaction, which at the time one may be aware of, but may well not be, but recall it. And you'll see, when you meet someone that you have a close feeling to, on the physical level, your body relaxes, is at ease. When it's someone that you dislike, the body will get tense, perhaps in your chest, perhaps in your shoulders, certainly perhaps in your facial expression. And here, even if one tries to present oneself in a socially acceptable way and so be polite, there will still be this tension within one's body. And then, in terms of our verbal communication, if it's someone that we've met that we like, we'll readily speak in a way that's open and free. If it's someone we dislike, our way of speaking, it may be harsh, it may be polite, but our way of speaking will be different, will be guarded. So here, what is the same is we have encountered someone, we visually encountered someone, but our way of relating to them is quite different, physically and verbally, depending on what we think of them, whether we like them or dislike them.
Dine inza tangara zule chiki sosoine chiki mi ane chiki dong jingha chiki lunga joba yakbo dukunlo yakbo chue na lunga joba yakbo shenle penpa che shenle penpa che pacho digi tsui ne soso liya ane dong 제 넘겨되게 약보 돼야다 기체 약보 셔 소리 약보를 제네 소소리야 통당 약보 제용 되거라 아니 소소리 디기리 거봐 당아주 군롱 차외 삼바다 뉴베 삼바지 되네지 군롱 류가 줘바데 파졸레 두제 되는데 파졸리야 마가와 셈 마가와게 마가와게도 파졸디에 지기 넘겨딩아 되는데 너 소소 미기 바제 제가 라신 니가 마기오 셔야디 아 저기 난게 삼르 군롱의 토네 삼르 땅땅 토네 용고래 제가 되네자 맞을 삼르 땅한테 마노라 따야지 계침보를 삼르 장도 시하고 계치셔 뒤에서
Through recalling incidences where you've met someone that you're close to or someone that you dislike, the point that I'd like you to, that I hope you have seen for yourself, is that independent on how we think of this person, our body reacts in a particular way, and our speech reacts follows in a particular way. When we meet someone that you have, and your initial response or your natural, your spontaneous response is one of warmth and closeness. your body becomes light, your expression becomes joyous, and your way of speaking is open and relaxed, because your mind is open, relaxed, and happy. On the other hand, when you meet someone that you dislike, then your body tenses up. Even if you force a smile, or know that this is the expression I need to show, your body is still tense. Your way of speaking, it may be polite, but it will be guarded. Because your mind now is one of distance, one of dislike, one of wanting not to be in the situation. Fear, apprehension, anxiety, all of these may arise. The mind here is suffering. It's ill at ease. It is not at peace. So what I'm bringing out now in this segment is not just the chain of reaction, but how then that results in one either it being joyous and happy, or suffering and wanting to remove oneself from the situation.
Tang Kebaru, Yapushina, Meted Yapush down to Banashi, Tangaraju, Kunwan Delia, the same Delia, Shenli, Tsevi Sambada, Nuve Samba Rikdipa, Mavat her Sueta, then Shenlia and Chigi and Jambada, Tsevi somebody, and to shoot Chertan with the Chagore, Chizangarazu Gidine, Jambada and Tsevi, Samlo Chebaina, in Digi Genjana, the Lunga and Namguti, Yapuch Tungur Mother, Shen Pasholia, and nobody Tungo Marwa. Dini is that some Nalolia, some Nalolia, Rigni Yobache, Shenlia, Tsevi Sambada, Nube Sambachi, some Logic Yungore, Shenlia Jamba, the Tsevi Samba, Pembe Samlachini Yungore, Dini Damga Chenem, Darugura Sene, Shenlia, Tsevi Sambada, and Pembe Sambadi, Yashuk Chertangoyada, and then Shenlia, Nube Sambada, Tsevi Sambada, Meva Sokwadi, that in Azugi, Toru, some Danhande Diguarda.
Just like a skilled driver will be able to utilize their car well and bring about successful completions of their endeavors. They will drive in a way that ensures they don't create any problems for themselves or others on the road. We can liken then that skilled driver being able to utilize the tools at their disposal well to a mind that has been well trained. A mind that has been well trained will lead to both the body and the verbal communication, not bringing harm to oneself or others, but actually, moreover, being of benefit to others. So if someone has a personality which is inclined towards being tender and close towards all others, someone who has a natural empathy for others, a natural feeling of closeness for others, such a person will find it very difficult to communicate or physically act in a way that brings harm to others. This will seem like as unnatural behavior to them. To speak to someone in a harsh way or in a divisive way will seem very strange. It will be something that is not in accordance with their natural personality. On the other hand, those whose minds are who are more inclined in a harmful manner, putting their own needs first, they will readily speak in a harsh manner towards others and physically act in a way that harms others. So of these two, it's very clear that the first way of being, having a personality which is open and kind and gentle and loving towards others, such a person will be naturally happy. The other kind of person, though, will be fearful, apprehensive, tense, and on edge. And in that way, clearly an unhappy person. So what we need to do then is to develop that first way of thinking and weaken and eradicate the second way of thinking. This is of great importance.
and Yangsi Le Korea, some Korea, the Lelawa, the Carlosne, Shanley Nube Samba, the Tse Samba, the Lelawa Yore. Then Shanley Tse Samba, the Jambis, Jambache, the Shanley Pembe, some like the Scalicar, Shudure, Moya di Yungorwa. Di Garilamne, Shanley Nube Samba, the Tse Samba, Mazula, Comshi Chair, Yaman, Yangsi Kivan, so Ni Lamsa, Deus Martin, Lamsa. Corolaya, Yonchodi, Dicarsene, Yeman, Comshi Shuchemoyore. Tangazulia, Shanlia, Jamba, and Zewi, Shanla, Pembe, somebody, does your dane, Lamsang to let Gurma to Bada, Yanti, Shukche, Machavadi, Carson Anzuli, Comshiro, Nua, Yuvaza, and Di Gene, somebody, Masona, Nube Samba, Sewe, Samba Rochina, Giegi, Lela, Yuvaret in the Chagorva.
Amongst all of us, we will have both sides to our personality. The side of loving kindness and tenderness and openness towards others, and that side of aggression, of aversion, and of fear and anxiety. Both we have. And for some, one side will be stronger, and for others, the other side will be stronger. And this you each individually need to recognize for yourselves. In circumstances, how does one spontaneously, or what does spontaneously arise in one's mind? And then we will see in varying circumstances, one will spontaneously react in one way or another. And you can see from this where your habituation is. Does one spontaneously tend towards openness and gentleness and care, or does one spontaneously lean towards apprehension and fear? So this is important to recognize, but what one also recognizes here is that there are both sides. And because one has both aspects, one can see that one has a habitual response to certain stimuli. Therefore, what we consider our personality is merely an expression of habituations. And being habituations, that immediately implies they are not fixed, they are not static, do not define who we are. Rather, they are merely habituations, which means we can develop a particular habituation, make it stronger, and we can weaken another habituation. This is up to us. This is something we have the potential to do, the capacity to do. Strengthening habituations, weakening habituations. We've done this our whole life, and now by becoming ever more aware, we can focus on particular habituations.
Ji yangsi kie de shuk chiro che kanes tangu kore sene ta ji ngang ju ge ya ne sam da ya de cha go re ji sa da ngang ju ge ta ngang sam mo de di ni ni li ya be shu ji le ga le du na ka wa ro ne be shu yu de gen cha go ro de ne za da ngang ju ni le sam da du ka bla ya ngang ju ka sam ya ge che da de kanes sam da ngang go me de re go mu si de sam da de wa ya ne sam da ji sa de ne za da ngang ju shu ge ba sam da de Dine Carso, that thing, Shelia, Lunga, Yusumukone, Shelia, Tseviki, Java, Nube Java, the Chime, Sembe, somebody, Yane, Yado, Tambaina, and the Tsevi Java, somebody, Malia, Keva Yungure, Makia. Dine, and chick that Denege sometimes, and that didn't Shelia, Pembe Java, the Kantu to Dugin, Sempege, that Shelia, Jamba sometimes, Shanley, Digi Gugore, Nagobana Shanley, Deo Gugore, Shanley, Dunga Gugu, Mare, Chesadang, Shanlia, Deo Yaya Delia, and me busy account to chicken. Shangy Dunga say 2 year Delia, and me busy account to chicken. Sepe Dangi, Shanlia, Pembaro, account to chicken, and big Denige somebody and Jogan Pasu, Dingazi, Tichi, Daya, and Imiquade, Denige somebody Yane Yado, Yasi Yas down to what she wore. Denige Gombaina, Denige Sarajik, some Dani, some Dosumsan, Denizin, Denige somebody Yansi, Gilia, Gia Dumderota, and Dioya Chagora, Denizadi, Yane and some Dangwedi, Tichagora down.
Habituations from that very name, it makes clear that this is just what we are habituated to doing, to thinking, to saying, or responding in certain circumstances. Therefore, just like in other areas of our life, we've built varying habit patterns, these we can do so here. And through the earlier segments of my talk, mentioning how our physical behavior and our verbal communication follows from our way of thinking, it is this, our way of thinking, these habituations, that we need to transform. Through transforming them, our speech and our physical behavior will change. And the way to do it is not particularly complicated. Doesn't require high philosophy or great effort. Developing our way of thinking, becoming habituated to wholesome ways of thinking and breaking our habituation to unwholesome ways of thinking requires just focusing our mind on a particular way of thinking and breaking our habituation to another. This is done in the most famous of ways through meditation. And the word meditation is also the word for habituation or familiarization. So in meditation, every morning, you set the determination, today I will bring no harm to others. I will bring no harm to others. And moreover, wherever I can, I will benefit them in any way that meets my capacity, meets my current capacity. Then in your meditation, you can think of what you are going to encounter today and whom you're going to encounter today. And think about what past situations that were similar and what you expect today, and see how, in these interactions, you can interact in a way that brings harmony, friendship, and closeness ever more to the fore of your relationship, and where the relationship has potential for conflict, how to skillfully deal with what one may encounter. So that's not complicated. That's role-playing and doing so in meditation, in a more undistracted environment. Then, throughout the day, remind yourself briefly of what you meditated on this morning. Now I'm in this particular place, I'm going to meet these particular people, I will bring no harm, I'll bring benefit wherever I can. And like this, we remind ourselves throughout the day. And if you have the time and space, you can do a second meditation at night. And in this way, you develop new habits, new habitual ways of thinking. And doing so repeatedly over a sustained period is how change will come.
mi karso chobachi nala soraji nala chiklega chik chongga chikari jobine dai chike an diring ya chiki shenli ya 펜베게 자와다 지 야고 줘야 되나 안 정부로 제다 도신 펜베 제위 돈내게 지긴 선배 펜바 중앙 쇼 선배 삼다지 안 지긴 선배나 내려가 돼야나 정부 제다 내가 야고 용해야 돼 도시기로 하다 소수기 야고라 제배나 안에 파주 미션다이네 언데 미 내가 야고리 미 정부어래 안 빼야고서 되어가야 주고 지자고를 미차상의 소술이야 통화를 하는 거로 아니 가시야 지금 네 연구를 받아가지고 내가 저대가라 안 소수기 내가 저거에 발에 안 파셔들이야 데데 야구 마셔나 고 야게 마저나 야구도 선비 데네 굴롱 안바 계시네 내가 저한테 데네 연구를 와 데네 지도 안에 내가 딱다 뿌이다고를 맞지도 안에 내가 야구 맞으네 안 전에이네 어디 코에 내가 야구 지금도 정보 지금도 코에 내가 뿌이다고 지금도 세비게 소설이야 데네 셰베나 양 소소아 셈 마가와다 마기바야 데 연구를 봐 데네자 아 저게 삼로 나려야 디 삼로 장도를 쳐야 돼 예시쇼라 디데다 샬레 판바다 디링 안 수리려가 될야 펜버지인 세비디 야고 용한테 제가 특히적인 선배 삼다샤베나 디가 저서 라신니가라 네 강아를 중화제다 안 수수인데 셈을 흘려자다 디 용거로
That you have chosen to come here implies that you have an inclination to, or you have an understanding of the importance of meditation. What I want to add to this is the importance that to take whatever you have meditated on and keep it alive throughout the day And the way to do so is just to briefly, again and again, remind yourself of what you meditated on that morning. So the morning where you generate the determination, I will only benefit everyone I meet today, I will only benefit them. I will bring them no harm. Then keep reminding yourself of that in the day. Your meditation, you'll do this on a deeper level, but throughout the day, just remind yourself of that sentence, and it's sufficient. In this way, you keep that virtuous, wholesome motivation alive. And thereby, wherever you go, whomever you're with, whatever you are doing, this will be fresh in your mind. This person has value. I will benefit them. I will not harm them. And throughout your day, you will have different encounters. Some you'll naturally take joy in. You'll meet people you like. You'll engage in activities you enjoy. And there it will be much easier not to harm and to bring benefit. And afterwards, you can recognize that you did well. Then when you encounter those other classes of events that unfortunately one encounters every day, where one is challenged, where perhaps one's ethics are challenged. And you may well have this in certain relationships or at your place of work, where you have a choice of following one particular path of action or another. Because especially in one's place of work, often one may feel that the expedient thing to do will be to lie, to take advantage. And here, one needs to recall what one has meditated on. Recall the values with which you want to live your life. And if you are able to, in those more challenging circumstances, you are much more likely to make a decision that later you will not regret. You'll make a decision that later you will have your self-respect about. And moreover, as one gains skill in dealing with the easier situations, it gives one confidence and courage in those more challenging circumstances. And that confidence and courage is experienced as a mind that is open and relaxed, knowing that even these more challenging circumstances I can deal with. And in this way, oneself is happier, more at peace, more at ease.
ngā 저기 지소하다 가르삼나 가르고르세네 ngā 저리 디기 주비야다 동아세 동아 고고 엄마 동아 디기도 고고 얼바 당하지 ngā 저기 디기 주비야에 삼나 가서 튕긴 야고 시우 주변에 변조로 튕긴 야고 시우 주변에 디네 디기 차상 줍투고 해서 배 삼로 준 거래 튕긴 야고 줍투변에 디네 동아 차서 세 투고 해서 배 삼로 주여래대 이내 튕긴 야고 가서 여변에 디기 ngā 저 디기 지단 디기 주야 펜드 핑거르데 이네 디기 분수 속과 차상화디 주투야 깔깔 하고 채고래 튕긴 가제 야고 여변에 디게 강아 세 투야 깔깔 하고 채고래 내가 아주 두스네 심주를 제배네 튕긴 가제 야고 여변에 안디 델이야 안지 요라 먹고 안지 주보게 먹고 요라 먹고 강아 먹고 레디게 채고로 제선 당 아주 난 제선 튕긴 구고르데 이네 做能 similar 啥里过的，但所属的第一主要的先来第一主要的做 similar 啥里过，就是这些先来分别先把的这个先把讲这个什么先来呀，都先什么绝白呢？你绝白呢？你团结绝白呢？你团结这个让来必须当白绝白，俺先来呀，绕解判断解对的，让先你个了，你这个主推要结果的。 就是他说了呀，什么哪里呀，人接近啊，现在把人接近什么休闲不去，那是哪去的那个月份呢？对，听见个这月份呢，你也呢，一个人给刚刚这个写图嘛的，现在刚刚这个主题也搞来搞过的，的那现在当然这个听见几部给，那俺这个什么的月份那些的主题也要嘛的，没办法，做俺做什么了？ ra le go re che che samlo tang tang ge thone digi tu go re che da samlo tang da thone digi tu bya la rang digi tu bya da shen le digi tu bya de samlo de khare se na lunga yisum de she de an tu ki ti na ngi lunga yis chale ne ba chi me sem be samlo che ba ye ba na digi le ga khare che be ne le ga de zhang bu yong go re le ga zhang bu yong go re ane shen la ma ne ba chi chi yong re che da shen le ya jambadan zewe pamba gangtu jigin sembe sam kunlo jiwe tone jewe na yewe na diga ze shukche yewe na ani ja jige shanle ya lunga gi tone beshe dang de shanle pembe jawa zhubtu go de beshe dang tu go di je ne rang le pemba shanle ba la jin ni ga le pan do yong go de ji za de ne za nga zu tunjin gu go de tunjin jibu gi nga zu dunga se da digi zhubtu yo ma de le zo nga zu na lo samla dang ta tone zhubu go de se de don da ning bo ro shi de
All of us here, and not just here, everyone we know and have ever known, are the same on a fundamental level in wanting happiness and to be free of suffering. But to achieve happiness and overcome problems and difficulties, a mistake that is continuously made is this belief that material wealth and possessions are what will bring happiness and lead to a life free or freer of problems and difficulties. So this is what drives us. We all want to be happy and a life free of problems. But our method, our technique is deeply flawed because we spend so much time and energy trying to manipulate and change our outer circumstances through gaining wealth and influence, with the mistaken belief that this is the path to happiness, to living a life free of problems and difficulties. But from your own lived experience, you will know that one needs a certain level of material comfort, but that is not the whole story. No matter how a wealthy or what wonderful collection of possessions one may have, that does not lead to a mind that is at peace with oneself, a mind that is at ease and happy with oneself. We know this from our own personal lived experience and from what we observe, that those who are wealthy and influential are not necessarily any happier. Here, we have fallen into an extreme of believing that through material development we can attain happiness and overcome problems. We need a more balanced approach of recognizing that we do need material comfort, but these will not lead to happiness. Rather, the way we should relate to our material comforts is to see them as a support for our mental development. Because through having our basic needs comfortably fulfilled, we then can focus on developing a mind that is at peace and joyous. And moreover, with whatever abundance we have, we can utilize that to helping others, to helping them fulfill their material needs and bringing thereby happiness and joy into the life of others. Because as long, or to the extent, that one has a mind that grasps at one's own needs as needing to be fulfilled first and foremost, a self-centered approach, no matter how wealthy, powerful, influential such a person is, peace of mind cannot be experienced. So here, we develop the determination to only benefit others and to bring no harm. And thereby, in our interactions with others, we will know we are being honest and true with ourselves and to others that we interact with. We'll have a sense of dignity and self-respect and a sense of being at ease and open. And moreover, whatever we have materially in abundance, we can readily share with others. And in this way, through both our personality and our material abundance, we can bring benefit to our community. So in brief, what I'm emphasizing in this segment is of primary importance, is our way of thinking. This is how we achieve happiness and overcome problems. Our material resources, these are a support, these are tools, and we should relate to them as such. We need them, but they shouldn't be given the primacy that our society encourages us to do. Our way of thinking, this is most important.
그래서 여러 미치기 양시 가르친 거라서네 아 점리 날에 강아 망보지 망지 직 초지 아니면 아주 미수고래스 미수랑 가르치고 거라서는 천차릭다 말아서 되는 파서 만잡 니기 라시니까라 강아지 레다 안지게 아직 지 코리오토 때가라서 봐도 세례가 위 두치데 네 베시 땅에도 아니 지 코리오를 뇌긴테 디수차상 아주기 안지 뒤토네 아니 코리오토네 아주리아 강아 먹을이 디차상 아주 미수고래스 지자 강아 먹을 미수고래스 지자데 미수비 갈 강아디 아주 미세고고래스 미메바 세고마다 셴세토야 말레스 디네 인자다 가리 강아 영화에게 미수비게 디 꾼디 가린 거라서는 샘리아 잠지게 삼로도 융차버지네 충차샤스 제가 잠지게 삼로디 슉철당 고도 제자다 저기 미수비 강아 세알이야 셴리아 파샴바단 제외 삼로도 양 슉철당 고도 맞아 점리나래 미차상이야 아주 미차상 미인바 직바레스 제가 차상 대화되바 직바레 동아미되바 직바레 제가 디네에서 아주 차상이야 대화 고고를 동아 고고와 말 디네에서 동아 세야 되신 차상이야 디기 준나서 배삼로지다 현심자 담 선자 차상을 동아데 매바 용고고도 안 디기 고고도 선배게 디기 준나서 배 셴바데 제와 삼로디 다디 아주 점리나리아 안지 슉셔당 거에 디기 무시 우레샤선 경험적이 디나 갈롭나야디 두스제네 잠제 슉셔당 고도 세데 경험제 두시 야시 두시 한줄라 룹된 능고로와다 지나디 딩원네라 데마르지 로와다 두스는 거래
Here, I want to draw your attention to advice that His Holiness the Dalai Lama regularly gives, perhaps in most of his talks, which is that all the problems, sufferings, and difficulties that we experience and we observe in the world, all of them are created by people. Whether one thinks of the large catastrophes facing either the entire world in terms of environmental destruction, or in particular between particular nations or communities that of warfare and armed conflict, as well as the problems and difficulties within a home, within an individual. These have been made by people. In particular, they come from a lack of loving kindness, of having a gentle, kind attitude towards others, an attitude that spontaneously feels a warmth and closeness to others. Here what we need to do is recognize this wherever it's easier, perhaps on a global level or communal level, but certainly within ourselves too. And we need to then think about ourselves and others to recognize that all the differences that we observe, whether in terms of points of view or on the physical level, these are only superficial. Just below the surface, already at that still coarse or rough level, we are all the same. We are all the same, wanting happiness and a life freed of pain and difficulty. And that one uses as a foundation to develop an attitude of care for others, recognizing there is no basis for discrimination. We are all the same. We all want to be treated in a particular way, and in the same way I want to be treated with respect and with dignity and with kindness, so too do others. So this we need to recognize, and we use this then as our foundation to develop a loving, gentle, and tender attitude towards others. And this is the advice that His Holiness repeatedly gives.
규단 긴절에 되는 용고래 제가 차서 가리네 되는 주고래 용고래 사실송고래 제가 되는자 다 가르송고로서는 저기 변에 신도를 다 가리네 지 사번지 답답지 추다 류게 대설을 되는 유고게 발라 되네 동포 야샤 되네 메도아게 대보다 되는 아주 베스다라고 그래서 Dinanshi Nazu Dewa said Shenchil Tuna Yungores, Dunga said Shen Tuna Yungores, Chizada Shen Tuna Yungor setting as the Lulu, Semle Deva, the Lud Teki, the Katas Yungorson, out of some Latang Tone, the Shishebana, some Sangbo, Chik Tangba in the Shenle Pemba, the Zivi, some Taban, Della Tune, Lunga in the beauty of what Shenle Ranshan Eagle Pemba, Della Dinner Ranshin Eagle appended to Tuet, Diki Yungor, etc. Some not the Locuno de Shenle, Sevi Samba, the Nubi Samba Chicono, Yobaina, Della Dene, Lunga in the Mudia, Dujet, and Della Dene, Russian Eagle, Nebas Yungores, Dunga Yungores, says that the name Guda Dunga, Dewa said, Shenle Dune Yungor, this at the Zo, non-semlet in the Yungor, Cesade, Sem Sango de Shebaina, Della Dene, and Lunga and the Muya, Della Dene, Russian Eagle, Digi to Buddhist. Just Deneza, the Shepana, Samba Samboche, Jamjeta, Shanley, Chicken, New Chicken Mess, and some of the Yane Yado, some Tongadi, that's all it is. Just the Deneza, Shelia, Nevada, Serious Samba Chuba, and Delatine, Lunga Chubaya, Duksha, Delatine, Rasinigal, Dunga Yungore, Delatine Yungores, Dusine. Can you do say, Jebache, some tongue, some canistana, lunga, Namu canis tungudo, Dinum tumbalet in a Shanle Pemba canishodo, Shanle Nova canisho, Shanle Nuna Rana Carayungudo, Shanle Penna Rana Carayungudo, Ducina to Jebache, Shimjuche, Ducine Jebache, and Duce Jebas, Coin is the how to put it, the Jebache, some died, Yeshimushure said, Nasan Jiminic Labja didn't go there. Dinga to Che K Lenda, my Gishmada Che, K Lena, Che K Melema, Ding around the Chasnala, Digu to be a tablamda, Dunga tablamdi, then this sumo, the name that the Chasnala Biji, Lalanda Choba Chagrua.
Buddha Shakyamuni taught that all the happiness we desire is dependent, comes about dependently. So too is all the suffering and pain that we wish to avoid. This too comes about dependently. And the illustration that he gave was, if you plant a specific seed, a particular crop will follow. If you plant a different seed, a different plant will grow. This is the case with the happiness we long for and the suffering we want to be freed of. Comes about in dependence on causes. And those causes are primarily our way of thinking, because the external conditions do not solely dictate whether we experience them in a pleasurable way or a harmful way. And of the varying ways of thinking that we need to look at, I'd encourage you primarily to look at how we think about others. Watch your mind, get to know yourself, see how particular minds arise in relation to certain people, certain events, certain stimuli, and then see what follows from this way of thinking. One's physical expression, the way one's body feels, the way one speaks, and look at what is actually going on within oneself, because often we need to control ourselves. There are social norms, but watch what's going on within your mind, within your natural response from your body, and use that as a guidance, as guidance to come to know what are wholesome ways of thinking and unwholesome ways of thinking, because it's the wholesome ways of thinking that result in one's mind being open and spacious, one's body feeling relaxed and at ease, and we speak in an open manner to others. And likewise, when the mind is tight, tense, then our body is also tense, and our way of interacting with others, certainly at a deeper level, will reflect this. So this I encourage all of you to do, whether you're Buddhist or not. This you can see within yourselves and use it as a guide. And in particular then, with this, to recognize that the true source of our happiness is our way of thinking. And a faulty way of thinking is also the source of our pain and misery, not others. The behavior of others, the speech of others, is not the primary source of our happiness and pain. There is no valid reason to dislike others, to hate others, to have others that one would rather not be around, that one feels a repulsion towards. To use this analysis of oneself, getting to know one's own mind, to develop a loving attitude towards others, a feeling of closeness and tenderness towards others.
아주 류가데 야과절 비시 땅교바나 땅고고 삼나 아주 삼로나라야 셴리에 젠와다 젠베 삼나 셴류가 숨려바 지메 셈베 삼로디 띵아주 야네 야도 장도 쳐야디 야네 야도 기티나 비피스다디 디세다 계침보 지우차고도와 디레스 자는 아주 류가게 쩨바디 셴리에 녀바다 체외때 비시 땅이디 아니 가르고서 군농 셴리에 체외 삼바요마 디용고레 디용고 디네자 땅아주 류가게 쩨바디 야가지레 베지땅고데 두가지 베지카르 베지땅고든 나군로라 라레기두스 나군로데라 샬레 뉘베 삼바 치베 삼바디기 아니 군로 디기 델레테네 룽아 쩨바디 샬레 뉘바이고 디마메바소고두스 다디메바소발레 간에 소고레세네 나서 삼로 나레야 아니 샬레 룽아 이스미체 뉘바지메 셈베 삼라냐 다야다 아니 샬레야 데와 데나 셈바데 둥아다 자고도 셈베 삼로 샬레야 펜바 주긴 셈베 삼로디 디야네 야동아 땅바이나 디기 토네 나가서 룽아게 쩨바디 약고 용거레스 데네 야네 라신기를 펜바주 주투그레스 하디 땅아서 삼로 장도디 디제고도 세데지다 도나 인보로지다 디레다.
Now, altogether, I've said many words. So to summarize, to bring out the essence of what I've said, is that our physical behavior and our verbal communication, for all of us, for everyone, ourselves and all others, comes from the motivating mind. Depending on the quality of the mind, one engages in particular physical activity, verbal communication. Therefore, the quality of our mind, the motivating mind, is of primary importance. This is what we need to look at. The self-discipline to develop, only on a superficial level, is about our physical behavior and our verbal communication. Primarily, we need to look at our mind, come to recognize our inner workings, coming to recognize which types of thinking lead to wholesome behavior and communication, and which types lead to unwholesome behavior and communication. Recognizing this, we also develop the thought patterns of, I will not bring harm to others. In fact, wherever I can, and in accordance with my capacity, I will benefit others. And through developing this determination, repeatedly over a sustained period, in a deep manner in meditation, utilizing illustrations and lived experience, and then also between meditation sessions, just calling it to mind again and again, we will strengthen our wholesome ways of thinking, developing a more open, loving, caring attitude towards others, and our fear, our anxiety, our apprehension that leads to an aversion, this will weaken. In this way, we ourselves will experience great benefit, our mind more at peace, more at ease, and those that we interact with, we will ideally bring benefit into their lives, but at the very least, we will bring no harm to them. We will not add to their burden of suffering and pain. So this then is the essential, the essence of what I've discussed in this hour together. So thank you very much. I appreciate you coming here and the event being organized, and that I've had the opportunity to meet you all. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you.